marketing, entrepreneurship, and all things small business. You're listening to the Jurassic Marketing's Triceratalks. Now, here's your host, Justin Miller.
All right, 2 in a row, Kevin.
I know.
Like, probably posted within a 1 month time span.
Probably, yeah. I'm just too busy still listening to the intro. This is like dynamic.
I noticed you've been leaving it in lately a lot.
Well, because there's a big trail at the end. This time he went all out. I mean, the first one he did like 2 years ago, there was like 10 seconds. This is like, I'll give him a minute of dinosaurs. It's like you're trying to get out of the jungle, get away from the dinosaur. And the drums, it's like the native drums at the end.
Little Indiana Jones style.
A little, yeah. He knew what he was doing.
I mean, you're in control of the...
I know, it seems to go on forever. It really does. It really does.
You didn't get paid by the second.
No, that's true. Exactly.
All right. We're taking a left-hand turn on this topic. We're moving away from marketing. We are talking kind of leadership, organizational development stuff. We have a special guest for the first time in, I don't know, what do you think, like a year plus?
Easily, yeah.
Maybe 2 years?
It's hard to get guests on this show.
Well, this one couldn't get away because she actually works here.
That's right.
So we grabbed her out of our office. Gabi Smith is on with us. Gabi, hi.
Hello. Glad to be here.
She's been newly promoted to a job title that I think we made up. There was some chat GPT involved in it. And I'll probably get it wrong. I think we landed on Functional Integrator, yes?
Yes, that's correct.
Which sounds like she's a functional medicine doctor, but that is not... Well, maybe as far as the office is concerned.
Yeah.
No, it came out of EOS world, Entrepreneurial Operating System, which you have heard me talk about a little.
Yeah. I probably couldn't explain it, but I've heard you talk about it enough that it seems like it probably is a good system.
That's why we brought Gabi.
Can she explain her own job title description?
Let's try. I did ask her after we made up that title. I'm like, okay, so the first family gathering you go to with this weird title, are you going to be able to explain what your new job is?
Yes. The explanation that I gave them was I am helping implement EOS at our company so that we can move together towards a common goal. And so we have different parts of EOS that help make that happen. We have the meeting pulse, we have the shared vision, the scorecard, and all of those things work together to hopefully help us continue to grow and make progress.
And were they like, how long is that going to take?
Yes, there was some gray area in there. And to be fair, I was doing this description before I started this new position. So it was a guessing game to me too. But now I'm kind of getting into the swing of things and helping everybody get more comfortable with EOS and what it means for them. So before the world thinks that I'm stupid for creating up a job without... There was an established need first, so that kind of the title and the exact functions came later, and we trust Gabi implicitly. Kevin, I saw you staring at the board here. Is this like we haven't dialed in the microphone for a female guest ever, have we?
Oddly enough, she's not as loud or vocal as either one of us. I mean, what a surprise. No, because
we don't edit this stuff after.
No, this is one of the highlights of your show is that it just goes right to
you will have to figure
right to the web.
We should just do these live.
It's true.
All right. So anyhow, Gabi has been tasked with some of the finer details of EOS that I do not have the attention span, desire, might be able to fake my way through, but not the natural skill set to get through it. EOS came about, well, because I had heard it passively and knew several companies, quote, running on EOS. But really what had happened is we've been bumping up against a bit of a growth wall for a while, a ceiling. And, we tried a few different things to get around it. And one of the things that became apparent the more I researched it was, we're at about 10 team members, which is, we've been flirting right around that place for a couple years now. And I started reading about the valley of death of 10 team members. And it's not like, Coolio going through the valley of death. It's not a fun one, although we do play that here. This has more to do with, I think, at its core for us is one team versus multiple teams. So prior to this, you got a lot of people wearing multiple hats, which still there's a part of. And you have them all working together and they all in unison and kind of knowing what the others are doing. But you can't do that forever. At a certain point, you would all just be trying to see what the other person's doing and never actually doing something yourself, like the government.
That's getting fixed.
Yeah.
If you haven't heard.
Well, maybe Elon likes the EOS.
He might.
Got,
oh, yeah.
Got, two characters in common there.
Katie's going to be looking for a government job. She'll be like, I'm going to go to Washington.
No, nobody here is going to work for the government. We kind of screen for that. You might get some government workers applying. Yeah, we're off topic. Part of Gabi's job is keeping me on topic.
Keep you on topic. This. She should be on every show then.
And chasing squirrels. And what are some of the other core things as far as, so there's a couple of terms in EOS. Why don't you give like the I and the V and some of the terms we may inadvertently use going forward here?
Yes, so a couple of the terms that pop up a lot in EOS are the scorecard, which is like if you had 5 to 10 numbers, you're on an island, you have to know what's going on in your company. What numbers do you need to know? So that's a scorecard. There's the meeting pulse. There's L10, level 10 meetings. The idea of that is making sure you're not wasting anybody's time and you're actually solving issues, and you want the meetings at the end of it. If you have to rate it out of 10, you're rating it a 10. Other things are rocks, which are the most important things that you have to get done in the quarter. The idea of having a quarterly setup like that is we procrastinate, we're procrastinators. So if you have it reset every 90 days, you're making more progress than you would if you said, well, by the end of the year, we hope we would have this done. You break it up into quarters and get those things done with
not only procrastinating,
rocks.
but like attention span. Like I don't have attention span beyond a quarter.
Yes.
Like, and that's a long time.
Yeah, that is me too.
For me.
Yeah.
Like I can't make it 2 minutes without interrupting. So just to note, since we don't have visual with this, like she's reciting this from her head. Like,
I know. She
I
knows
could see the
this.
look on your face.
I'm like, wow, she really knows this. She's not reading this. She knows this. That's great because that shows that she's in the right spot.
She has less notes than me.
I
Right
know.
Now
Yeah. She's prepared.
It's my job.
Yeah. I did interrupt though. Did you have anything else on that particular topic?
No, those are the main.
So her job's to make sure that I don't go squirrel too much.
To filter out the squirrels, make sure they get.
Squirrel filterer.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. I mean,
Put that on a business card.
in meetings too.
Yeah.
I mean, we have a loose agenda for the podcast, so we're good with that. But anyhow, so these are a lot of the constructs and tactical and formulaic and rubber meets the road and every other cliche I could throw at it, structures for supporting company operations. So EOS by nature doesn't tell you how or what to do necessarily, but it gives you the structure and the how to. So like if just what you do like sucks and doesn't make money, it's not going to magically change that. I guess it's like you could build the perfect ship, sailboat, but if there's no wind, you're kind of screwed. So
True.
So a little caveat there, not a magical solution if you're in failure, but we're not in failure here. We're doing pretty good, and we're looking to keep going and go further. And rather than recruiting outside leaders, which I don't think is great for where we're at. I don't think that's a good idea. We're further developing leadership skills internally. So we've had multiple promotions, kind of halfway promotions now as we backfill positions that people were in. Gabi got pulled out of physically being in our production shop and working graphic design. She's still working graphic design. I have a lot of weird design projects.
Lots of dinosaurs.
Yeah, imagine that. We do need a new
surprise.
set.
You also
Like,
need
we need a video set.
You need a vehicle schematic.
I already showed her the picture.
Yeah.
From last episode, we talked about the dinosaur thing. So our loyal listeners, they know.
I was almost surprised when I'm like, I got to go over there and check that out just in case there's anything to send back to Justin. I'm like, sure enough, there's a vehicle.
Did you go in the museum?
No, because it was closed. It didn't open until 10 a.m. and I wanted to get on the road. And there was a sign on the door that said no pictures, even though it's all like, evidently there's a large dinosaur plate, like in southwest Colorado where they've dug up a bunch of dinosaurs, and that's where they dig every summer. So all the stuff in the museum is authentic dinosaur stuff, but it's all like, but you can't, I can't photograph it? What is it? It's secret? It's like a government secret thing. So I didn't even wait to go in because I wouldn't be able to send you any pictures without getting kicked out. I'm like, forget it. I'll just take pictures of the Triceratops van out front. Mm-hmm. I know. I'm just waiting for her to get us back on track.
But you know, it's not a secret. EOS.
Yeah, you can buy the book on Amazon right now.
So this is a system that works best if your company is already doing well?
Okay, so they do have a target, right? And the target kind of bottom revenue they go after is about a $2 million company. 2 to 50, I think. Yeah, so 2 to 50, I think, is really their target. So,
I'm out.
No, you could certainly use elements of it, but in order to make it worth the effort, about $2 million at the bottom of who they would actively seek out. We did force some structural changes, though, and I do want Gabi to talk about that a little bit. So EOS kind of has a belief that there's kind of 3 different departments and functions in most companies, which forced us to reevaluate some stuff.
Yeah, so the first department is the sales and marketing. Every company has someone who needs to bring in the sales and get the stuff moving at the beginning of the flow. Next up is operations. This is where we saw a lot of the changes of what we currently had or what we previously had. And the operations is the delivery of the product that your company offers. And then the last one is finance, administration, all that billing, admin work, and other general office tasks.
Yeah, so we had a couple of positions in the company, a small company, but a couple of positions were like, which department is this job really in?
Yeah.
Which forced us to really go through some exercises and decide. And we're still fumbling through that a little bit now and like, oh, this position's officially here. You know, how do we supervise, manage, and build that position up? So that's one of our challenges going forward. But it added, if nothing else, it added a lot of clarity to everything. You know, we picked the 3 to 5, I think, for the most part, accountabilities for every job function. Which, you know, as a leader is like, okay, whose head's going to roll if that's not done? But I'm sure it's worded much more polite in the book. So yeah, that has helped. And certainly during these meetings, we have pointed back to it a lot and said, okay, who really should be dealing with this?
So the clarity becomes more defined where it's very clear at some point that this person or this position is in this side? And is it a situation where you then each of those 4 things are very independent, but they all still support each other? I mean, is that the idea that you don't have one person who works in 3 of those areas?
You can have one person in multiple seats if needed, and when you're a small company, there are going to be some people sitting in multiple seats. But the big thing is you can't have multiple people sitting in the same seat. There is one person responsible for this. There's one person responsible for that, which helps when we intentionally set up who is going to be accountable for what, then we can just reference back to it and not have to rethink it every single time.
That makes sense. That does make a lot of sense.
I'm in a couple seats and I'm not great at one of them, so we'll hire that. But
But that's part of the clarity is knowing what seats need to be filled, right? Or that you don't have full already, or that what person is. I think that would be.
And we were forced to build backwards from a larger vision. So I will admit publicly to our 10 listeners that, you know, getting vision out of my head and to the team in a clear, concise manner was not a strong suit of mine. But now that they've reluctantly agreed to the vision of world domination, we've figured out, you know, what armies we need to get to world domination, and just backtrack all the way down to rocks, which are 90 days. So we have 90 days, we have 1 year picture, we have 3 years, and in our case, we chose 7 years as the larger take.
See, that's so crazy for me because I can barely think past 6 months in my own business because 7 years. Like, will I still be in business in 7 years? Will I be retired? Will I be on to the next project that trips my fancy that I want to spend time on? So is 90 days the smallest amount of time, or do you even break it down farther from 90 days?
So the L10 meetings happen every single week. And as a result from those, when you get to the meat of the meeting is the issues list, an issues list that gets compiled throughout the week. And then you want to identify, discuss, and solve the issues, whether that's through to-dos that have to get done within the next week, or it becomes a rock for the next quarter if it's a bigger project. So every week we are touching base, and that's why it's called the meeting pulse, because it's like the pulse of the company that would spike once a week with.
And how did those things get assigned? Is that in your role, or is it yours as the owner, or is it Katie? Is it your role to then, these things need to be assigned, I'm going to go ahead and assign these? Or is it just become so readily apparent in the meeting that each person knows what they have to do?
So in the meeting, I act as a scribe, and I take notes on what's being discussed, and I create all the issues and to-dos that are discussed so that the manager in charge of whatever team L10 we're in can lead the meeting and lead the discussion, and then everybody is offering input on those issues.
Okay, that makes sense.
And it does sound like a lot of meetings and bureaucracy.
It does.
I realize that the way it's presented sounds like that, and it kind of is. I think we're going through a cultural adjustment right now to that. I certainly see the value, but I think as that rolls out to everyone, because throughout the organization, if you're in a 3-department split, it's actually 4 meetings a week. So there's each department, and then there's a leadership meeting on top of that. So
Is that more meetings than they would have had before per week?
oh yeah, we were. So well, depends how you define meeting.
Okay.
So
yeah,
before,
talking at the water cooler.
I was
going to
say before there would have been 30 meetings throughout the week, impromptu, discussing
Yeah.
issues as they
Okay.
arise.
Yeah.
Now there's hopefully one 60 to 90 minute meeting getting through 20 issues.
Okay, so it's more. I think what's the word I'm looking for? It's more intentional now. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's not to say that the discussions still don't occur. And I probably say once a day, add it to the issues list on something that just is a longer discussion than, when I go up to get my snack at the little snacky thing.
It is a perk. I'll be stopping there on the way out.
Good.
So, do the two of you feel like this system will lead you both to be better? You'll be better leaders. It'll be more organized, and that the entire process eventually will lead to either higher profit or more just not satisfaction on the staff. But I mean, it sounds like the end goal.
We are a for-profit company, so that
True.
should be a byproduct of everything else going on here.
Well, it sounds it is, but when we're talking about leadership or the ability to be organized or to facilitate, yeah, I think the end goal is, you do all those things because it is going to result in more profit. But it also, one of the things about your company that's different to me than a lot of other ones is that you guys have fun here. There is more to just making a buck. It is a team effort, and a lot of companies aren't like that because it's all about the bottom line.
Yeah, we still have fun. I think there's already a lot more intentionality, and what are we, about 100 days into the journey, something like that? There's already a lot more intentionality. So with failing to kind of cast the vision on how we're going to get there, what we had before was an awesome group of team members who came in, did their best, and improved blindly. Not knowing where they were going other than let's do better and let's grow, which apparently is not how you grow unless you're an entrepreneur. Then it works fine.
Sure.
But it doesn't scale up throughout the whole team very well. So definitely we have more intentionality and kind of know where we're going. I do believe all the meetings are time spent. I've heard multiple times regarding the accountabilities. Well, now that I know that's my job,
Yeah.
I can do that, which is like, I'm like, nah, it was before. You just didn't know it, apparently. So the entrepreneurial mindset kind of misses some of that stuff. I have a concept of where we were going, but it wasn't clear, well-defined, and broken down into achievable targets with a time span.
It's only in.
We will argue whether or not they're achievable, but
Sure.
that's behind closed doors.
So is what he's saying true?
Yes.
You see that? Yeah.
Yeah. It's already helped us, help everybody kind of actively be thinking about where we're trying to get instead of just coming in and doing the best you can in a day's work.
Does that help everyone kind of like, not that they already cared about everybody else and about the end goal, but it seems like it would allow people to be more vested, not because they have a bigger stake in it, but simply because they understand how everything works. Like, this is what we're actually doing. Instead of just like coming in and using our innate raw talent, we actually know what we're doing now.
Well, they got the map, right? So before we had a lot of high-performance race cars, i.e. staff members, that each day would come in and they'd make their car better and they'd practice and get better at going fast, but they didn't know where they were driving to.
That makes sense. I mean, I get it.
I usually go with boats. This time I went with race cars.
Okay. No, but you're right. I've seen it, and I've seen it firsthand, actually. So, I mean, I get it.
Yeah, so you ask a results question. Yes, I feel we're getting more out of everyone, for sure. I think there is some initial stress and overwhelm hurdles. I think we're almost through most of those. I mean, there's still going to be job stress, but I think at first there's like, oh, I got to do everything I was doing before plus these rocks.
Yeah. Plus the keeping track of my scorecard measurable things, plus the meetings. But the meetings were already happening, and the scorecard is helpful because now that we're tracking certain things, we're aware of them, and that which gets tracked gets done. So we're seeing more progress in the action items too.
People say they don't want to be, like, people don't always want to have a scorecard, or they say they don't want to know, but they really do. And when they are able to track their own progress, it's very often what makes them better.
Well, yeah, I mean, coming up with some of the things to track, some are obvious. Like, I'm a marketer, I can come up with the 8 stats for lead conversion, right? Which is too many for everyone. But, you know, as we picked some of the numbers that we felt were important, and we did that as leadership team first and then departments. But some of the numbers we picked, like, we know this is important, but we have no idea what the number's actually going to be. Until we research this and track it, no one could tell me what it was. And this is one of, like, the things we decided were the 5 most important numbers in these jobs, and we didn't know it. Which is a little embarrassing to say, but we've done pretty well up to this point. We just don't want to stay at this point. You know, the vision's a lot larger than what we have going on right now. We got a building to fill up here, you know.
Yeah, there's a lot. I mean, there's only so much mini golf you can play in an office.
We need to move from puppet dinosaurs to animatronic dinosaurs, and that costs money.
Although that puppet dinosaur, I mean, she knows how to work that dinosaur. I mean, it's a little scary with the sound effects. You're like, I come in and he's like, check this out. Look at the new thing. This is cool.
We like to have fun. I can't remember
It's
how
a core value.
I can't remember how it's worded now. It's not as simple as have fun.
We are fun-loving.
Yes, we're fun-loving.
That's why she's in that position.
We love to have fun.
That's good. I would too.
I mean, you can come down here. I'm not going to pay you to, but you can come down here and pretend.
Come down and
you
have
work
fun with everyone for free.
here. Yeah.
Only we can ride the scooters.
I mean, it's
a little chilly for that right
It
now.
might be warm enough today.
Yeah, today might be.
All right, Gabby, what am I missing for someone that has never been exposed to this? Because we're still fairly early in our journey. I do believe we've seen early results. We're not abandoning this. We're committed to it. Actually, that's probably a good point to make. So I kind of brought this in from the top down. That I don't think I bluntly said we're doing this, but it probably was pretty evident to all our leaders that, okay, we're doing this. So on the receiving side of that, for someone that might be thinking about exploring this, tell me how that felt, like that initial, what the heck's going on here?
So we started off by reading Traction, which is the book that kind of walks you through all of the main tools for EOS. And that was helpful because as an employee who has never started her own business or anything like that, I didn't find myself thinking about some of the bigger picture things. So even just reading that book and being like, oh, you're supposed to be thinking about this, and the concepts of like, do you have the right people in the right seats, and are you all going in the same direction on that? It was helpful just to be exposed to what we should be thinking about. And now that everybody has read, or at least gotten through some of the material so far of introducing those topics, we're able to start working on them and just be aware of them.
Yeah. I mean, as the entrepreneurial person, you know, I read through the book and I see all the things and I'm like, I solved it. I read the book. So no, we brought in some outside help too. So we have Kristen, who is our implementer, which is a third party that has helped lead this process from outside. And that's been great for getting us rolling. Otherwise, I think we might have been able to do it, but it'd probably take 4 times as long and cause a lot more tension. I think if I can pick one thing that we've achieved besides clarity, it is better communication. Mm-hmm. So ability to have tense conversations and get through them. I think we've rolled through that pretty well and continue to do so, which is a big deal, especially for the aggressive goals set forth here. They're not gimme goals. They're not easy ones by any means.
The term is BHAG, big, hairy, audacious goals. So that's the intent that you set your 7-year, 10-year goal, is that's something big and scary, but it's something to work towards. So.
Yeah, so EOS teaches the 10-year target, and we said, we can do it in 7.
Sure.
Yeah.
Why not?
Be the largest sustained growth we'd ever have. Let's cut down a few years.
Think big. Yeah. Might as well.
They agreed to it. All right. I think we are up against the clock for this episode. So, Gabi, thanks for joining us.
Yes.
We'll have you back when we have important process stuff to discuss.
Oh, we can have updates.
I think
See how
we
it's
should.
going. That makes sense.
And anyone else that's running on EOS. So this is another reason I picked this particular process, is because I knew people on it. I know there's a community around it. So if we have a question about how to do a certain thing, we can find a Facebook group and ask. Like, we're not on our own. So I think as we first put this in place, it was evident, and I pointed it out to everyone, but it was evident that we had bits and pieces of this from all over. So I'd pulled in, Dave Ramsey teachings. I pulled in a lot of stuff from, grad school in business, past experience for 20 years. So we had a lot of these pieces, but now we have not only one cohesive system, but one that is used elsewhere. So helps to not be alone and fight through the challenges. Again, got to have the wind at your sails, but the dinosaurs aren't dead yet. Direct mail's not dead yet. Our ship can go a little faster. So again, thanks, Gabi, and we'll close out episode 59 here.
Thanks for listening to the Triceratalks podcast. Be sure to subscribe and leave your comments. For more information on how Jurassic Marketing Direct Mail can help grow your business, visit JurassicMarketing.com.